You do not invade Western Europe without perfect weather. That is the rule. The unbreakable truth. The kind of assumption so deeply rooted that entire armies plan their lives around it. For years, German commanders believed the Atlantic itself is their greatest ally. The Channel is violent, unpredictable, and merciless. Storms roll in without warning. Winds rip landing craft apart. Low clouds blind pilots. Rough seas drown men before they ever touch sand. So the rule becomes doctrine. No major invasion can happen in bad weather. Not with heavy seas. Not with thick cloud cover. Not with shifting winds. German meteorologists reinforce it. Their forecasts insist the first week of June 1944 will be impossible for an invasion. Gale force winds. Driving rain. Swells too high for landing craft. Conditions no sane commander would risk. And because of that belief, German defenses relax. Commanders leave posts. Senior officers travel inland. Rommel himself goes home for his wife's birthday. The Atlantic Wall stands tall, but its guardians believe the storm has saved them. But in 1944, one man dares to break the rule. And the fate of the largest invasion in human history hangs on his decision. You are James Stagg. 41 years old. Scottish. Quiet. Methodical. A career meteorologist who never fires a weapon and never steps onto a battlefield, yet now holds the power to delay or doom an entire war. You serve as group captain in the Royal Air Force, but your real rank is trust. Supreme Allied Commander Dwight Eisenhower listens when you speak. And that makes you dangerous. Your job is simple in description and terrifying in reality. Tell Eisenhower when the weather will allow the invasion of Normandy. 3 million Allied troops wait across southern England. Over 5,000 ships. 11,000 aircraft. Tens of thousands of vehicles. Years of planning balanced on a few fragile hours of acceptable weather. The invasion window is brutally narrow. You need a full moon for airborne drops. Low tide at dawn to expose German obstacles. Calm enough seas for landing craft. Cloud breaks for bombers and fighters. Miss the window, and the invasion delays weeks, maybe months. Delay too long, and German defenses strengthen beyond breaking. Now the weather turns hostile. On June 4th, a massive storm system slams into the Channel. Winds howl. Rain lashes airfields. Waves smash against docks. Eisenhower postpones the invasion from June 5th. The pressure crushes the room. Every meteorologist agrees, the weather is worsening. Except you. You notice something others miss. A brief break. A narrow ridge of high pressure pushing in from the Atlantic. Not perfect weather, but survivable weather. A 36-hour window. You know what recommending that means. If you are wrong, thousands drown. Aircraft scatter. Paratroopers drop blind. The invasion fails in its first hours. But if you stay silent, the window closes, and the war drags on, costing countless more lives. You stand before Eisenhower and speak the words that will define history. There will be a break. Brief. But enough. The room goes silent. Now you wait. June 5, 1944. Evening. You feel the weight of the decision pressing down on your chest as the invasion launches. The storm begins to ease. Not fully. Not kindly. But enough. Winds drop from gale force to manageable levels. Clouds lift just enough. The sea remains rough, but survivable. At 2200 hours, Allied paratroopers load into aircraft. Engines roar. You listen to the sound and wonder if you have just sent them into darkness, or into history. 016 hours. June 6th. The first Pathfinders jump over Normandy. Clouds tear formations apart. Some men land miles off target. But crucially, aircraft can fly. Drops can happen. The weather does not cancel the operation. German radar stations report activity, but commanders dismiss it. It's a feint, they say. The weather is too bad. 2 o'clock hours. Paratroopers engage German units in scattered firefights. Chaos spreads. Confusion reigns. Still, German high command hesitates. Why? Because their meteorologists insist no invasion is possible. Dawn approaches. For 30 hours. Naval bombardment begins. The sea heaves violently, but landing craft stay afloat. Men vomit. Pray. Grip rifles until their hands go numb. German coastal observers stare through mist and rain, and cannot believe what they see. Thousands of ships. Thousands. 5:30 hours. The first landing craft hit Omaha, Utah, Gold, Juneau, and Sword beaches. The weather is brutal, but it holds. Waves crash. Bullets tear water into white spray. Men drown under the weight of gear. Others push forward because retreat means death. German units scramble, but their leadership is fragmented. Rommel is gone. Senior commanders sleep. Hitler himself refuses to release armored reserves without confirmation. Because the weather should have made this impossible. By mid-morning, Allied troops hold tenuous beachheads. The storm does not return. You exhale for the first time in days. At that moment, history locks into place. If you find this kind of forgotten history as fascinating as we do, we'd be honored if you'd hit that subscribe button. We believe these stories of courage, sacrifice, and quiet genius deserve to be told. And by subscribing, you help us ensure they aren't forgotten. The true impact of your decision unfolds over weeks. German commanders scramble to understand how the invasion happened. Their weather models never predicted it. Their forecasts never allowed for it. They trusted long-range data from continental stations, while the Allies pulled readings from ships, aircraft, and remote Atlantic outposts Germany no longer controlled. You had more information. Better data. And the courage to act on uncertainty. By June 12, Allied forces linked the beaches. By July, Normandy becomes a staging ground for the liberation of France. German commanders later admit the weather fooled them. One says, "We were completely surprised." Another writes that the storm convinced them the invasion could not happen, and that belief cost them the war. What they didn't know was that the invasion succeeded not because the weather was good, but because someone dared to act when it was barely good enough. James Stagg never leads troops into battle. He never storms a beach. He never fires a shot. Yet his decision shapes the fate of millions. After the war, he returns to meteorology. He writes quietly. Lives modestly. Rarely speaks of the night he carried the weight of the world. Thousands of men survive because the invasion succeeds. Millions more are freed. And most never know his name. To this day, military planners study D-Day not just for its courage, but for its gamble. A gamble taken by a man who trusted science, intuition, and nerve when certainty did not exist. And now, you know his story. If this story moved you, please hit that like button. Every click tells the algorithm this piece of history is worth remembering. We're dedicated to rescuing these forgotten stories from the archives. If you want to join us on this mission, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Where are you watching from? Drop a comment with your city or state, and tell us if someone in your family served. Thank you for ensuring that James Stagg and the countless men who crossed the Channel on June 6, 1944, do not disappear into silence. They deserve to be remembered.